Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has recently broken over a massive level of resistance, and a lot of the macro charts are now suggesting a high time frame bullish continuation. So let's dive into the video today to talk about all the recent price action and what it means, what's next for Bitcoin, and the potential for a short time frame retracement here and our key levels. We'll also take a quick look at the total altcoin market cap to explore the recent gaining strength of the crypto market and what it means for the future of alts. Before we get into all that though, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trades with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving right into the charts here, we're on a 4-hour time frame, and what an absolutely insane couple of hours it has been. So giving you guys a little bit of context of the recent price action in case you haven't been watching the videos. Over the last week, Bitcoin was kind of consolidating below this upper descending trend line over here, our key short time frame descending channel resistance. And that was kind of coinciding with our key high time frame resistance being the midline of our macro channel, right? This massive one that we have been in for the last 4 to 5, maybe even 6 months now. And that is represented by that blue dotted trend line over here. So a very, very strong dynamic level of resistance that we needed to see broken for any sort of high time frame bullish continuation. Towards that latter end of the week, we started consolidating in a symmetrical triangle formation over here. And upon breaking above that upper trend line over here, that resistance that we had on the short time frame, we started to develop more and more strength against this sell wall over here at $61.3 to $67,000. We can see the increasing strength and momentum here on the RSI, and eventually that led to a breakout. So last night we had a massive move overnight to fill this gap over here that we have on the volume profile and move up right into the next level of short time frame resistance, being $64,000. So naturally it has been an insane time in the market. So 24-hour liquidations are up by 124%. As you guys can imagine, most of these are skewed to the short side. Open interest is up by 7%, which is huge, and 24-hour volume is up 66%. So let's dive into our analysis now. Let's start off with the macro charts and talk about the implications of this massive move upwards on the high time frame charts and what it means for the future for Bitcoin. Before we get into any more analysis though, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor Bitunix, where you can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards by creating your free account using the link down in my description box.
Bitunix is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So starting off our macro analysis with the 3-day time frame, let's go ahead and pull up the Gaussian channel, guys. So the Gaussian channel on a 3-day chart has historically been really great for telling us whether or not Bitcoin is in some sort of macro uptrend or about to enter a high time frame bearish, trajectory. So before we dive into this sort of more recent couple of months of price action, let's take a quick look at how historically that Gaussian channel has allowed us to kind of predict or read the positioning of Bitcoin. So going over to 2020, we can see here that upon breaking out of the top of that Gaussian channel over here is when Bitcoin really started to enter that sort of really parabolic and really aggressive high time frame bullish trajectory, right? There was that rally above that Gaussian channel there that took us to around $64,000 for the first time. And then after falling below the Gaussian channel over here, we saw a massive correction to move all the way below that Gaussian channel there. And we did have a little bit of an interesting scenario here. So over here, what Bitcoin ended up doing was having a secondary rally. We know that generally that didn't, that wasn't really supposed to happen. We're supposed to have generally that very clean one rally, and then we have dead cat bounce, and then we enter the bear market. But over here, we saw a really, really crazy secondary rally that took us to a new all-time high at $69,000. We had a massive amount of deviation. It was pretty clear that we were it was the result of a lot of FOMO and hype. Regardless though, it still pushed the price back upwards, and the first thing that it did in that rally back upwards was move above the Gaussian channel there as a level of resistance, and then, having that rally after breaking above the top of the channel there. So moving past that and into the bear market, what we ended up seeing was a break below the Gaussian channel here, a rejection from the midline as a retest of, resistance, and then that is when we entered that high time frame bearish trajectory. So you guys can kind of see how these little levels here, but particularly that midline, has acted as a level of resistance and support historically, and facilitated either the continuation upwards or, that continuation downwards below either the top or the bottom of the Gaussian channel. So if we go ahead and take a look at our more recent segment of price action in the last 6 months, we can see that that first retest here at the to the bottom or the midline of the Gaussian channel here was all the way in July. That was when we had that massive correction downwards. I can't remember what caused it. I think it was CPI data. I honestly can't remember. No, was it Germany or was that this one here? I can't remember. There's been so much happening with Bitcoin over the last couple of months, but you guys saw that crash. I'm sure you were all here for it. And what we did was we ended up rejecting off that midline for about a week before finally breaking above it as that resistance level there, and breaking above the midline allowed Bitcoin to shoot upwards to test the top of the Gaussian channel here, and then the upper range of our macro structure here at around $70,000. So over here, what we can see is that on the 3-day chart, we've still got 23 hours left till the close, but it is very likely that this next 3-day candle close is going to be above the midline of that Gaussian channel, which again suggests a high time frame continuation to the top of the Gaussian channel here, which coincides perfectly with the upper end of our structure, our microstructure, and that being around $68,000 to maybe $70,000. Now, if Bitcoin was to break out of our macrostructure over here and fulfill that wolf flag pattern in a bullish break, what we'd also end up doing is moving above that Gaussian channel there, which again is more confirmation that we should be seeing a high time frame bullish trajectory, because historically breaking above the top there of that Gaussian channel has been exceptionally bullish for Bitcoin. So the Gaussian channel isn't the only indicator that we have to tell us that Bitcoin is entering a high time frame bullish trajectory. The top of that Gaussian channel is very, very far away. So what I like to also use on a day-to-day time frame that's more immediate confirmation of that macro uptrend is the 200-day moving average. So the 200-day moving average has pretty much worked the same way that Gaussian channel has. It's been very, very great at marking out whether or not Bitcoin is more likely to enter either a high time frame bearish trajectory in comparison to a high time frame bullish trajectory. And obviously we use these indicators in conjunction with structural support. So the reason why we fell below the 200-day moving average here, but we did not have that, continuation all the way back down and exit the potential for a bull market or any sort of bullish continuation, is because we had a somewhat bullish structure over here, right? Where we found support at around $53,000, and again, same situation over here. But it is, again, a really great indicator to tell us that, okay, now that we're above that 200-day moving average, when we do move above the structure, we have confirmation that we are in a macro high time frame uptrend and that we should be seeing a high time frame bullish continuation. And before we break out of the structure, what it's telling us is that right now the probability of us seeing a range high retest or our range high retest or retest of our next high time frame resistance is much more likely than a retest of our high time frame support or our range low at $53,000. That's essentially what this 200-day moving average is telling us right now. And if you guys want some examples of how it has been very helpful in the past, most recently, that break above that 200-day moving average was what ended up marking the start of our bull market uptrend, right? It was when we started to see a massive amount of accumulation that led to eventually what turned out to be the start of our bull market over there. If we go back a little bit further, we can see that it was the break above the 200-day moving average after bottoming out at around 16,000 that led to the start of the accumulation phase here for Bitcoin and the development of a pretty small, well, not small, but like flat, but very prevalent, high time frame uptrend here that marked that accumulation. Moving a little bit further back, we have the 200-day moving average first acting as a base of support here, falling below that and rejecting off that 200-day moving average. We ended up seeing our high time frame bearish continuation, or the entrance of the bear market that took us all the way down to, that most recent low there at 16K. So plenty of examples there. And of course, you know, you can't use it on its own. Clearly, it's quite choppy, but we do have other structures, other indicators to be using in conjunction. But overall, it is very, very helpful for marking out whether or not Bitcoin is going to be entering those, you know, high time frame trajectories. So taking a look over here, we can see that on the daily chart, things are looking very, very bullish. We've just had our daily candle close above the 200-day moving average. And on top of that, what we've also managed to do is break above, sorry, I'm just trying to clean up the charts, break above our 50-day moving average, which, similar to the 200-day moving average, has historically represented a level of resistance that has, upon breaking above, taken us to a retest of our range high. So not only do we have confirmation of a move towards the range high, both on horizontal levels, being that midline resistance, but also our moving average resistance, that 50-day moving average, and we have confirmation of a high time frame bullish trajectory after finally closing above our, you know, macro uptrend. So the daily chart, guys, is looking very, very good. We're looking very strong here. But now the concern is, now that we've reached resistance or short time frame resistance here around $64,000, what is the likelihood that we're going to see a small retracement, and where is that retracement going to be? And how much can we retrace before the bullish case scenario of seeing that range high retest becomes less likely once again? So moving into the shorter time frame charts and diving into the 4-hour time frame, guys, we know that after this most recent rapid move upwards, we have pretty much gone to fill this entire volume gap over here that we had on the short time frame. And so Bitcoin is now currently sitting at resistance, and that short time frame resistance sits pretty much exactly at $63.5 thousand. You can map that out using the base of this change of character level using the liquidity things indicator, up to 64.3 thousand. I actually think it goes very slightly higher than that, just to that next peak in the volume profile, if you guys can see it there, at around 64,600. Now, on the daily time frame, 64K in particular is a very, very strong level of resistance. We can see historically, and particularly from this area of price action onwards, that close above that horizontal level at $64,000 on a daily time frame generally leads to a very, very rapid continuation to retest the range high level of resistance. Falling below that level and rejecting from the base of that resistance at 63,000 is generally when we start to see a very high probability of a range low retest. Here we see falling below 63, range low retest, rejecting from there. A couple of times we went to retest 60,000. Same thing over here, rejection from that 64K resistance and closing below 63. We saw a move down to range low, and so on and so forth, right? So this is a very, very key level. It is pretty much the last key level that we have here in terms of daily charts and seeing that test of our range high here. And on the short time frame, that's going to coincide with getting a 4-hour candle close above that key resistance there and moving into this next gap over here on the volume profile. So that currently is our key resistance. And now that we're at resistance, and it does look like, you know, we are sort of starting to reject there a little bit, where should we reject to? What are our key levels of support? So on the short time frame, obviously we had a very, very successful resistance and support flip of our midline level over here. So that really, really strong level of resistance that we had been experiencing over the last week period, ranging from 61.7 to 61.1 thousand dollars, right? That base there, again, you can map it out on the liquidity swings indicator. That is now going to be acting as our most important critical level of short time frame support, because if we reject hard enough to fall below that level, we have then lost our short time frame uptrend, right? The one that took us to the top of this rally. And also, we have then fallen below our midline once again. So that means that we would have fallen below the 200-day moving average, below the 50-day moving average, and below our midline, that key resistance that we had over the last couple of weeks. So in that short time frame rejection, that would take us down to test the next level of support there at 57,500 or to 58,300. So that's when the high time frame bullish case scenario here in seeing that range high retest starts to come into question again. It starts to become maybe a little bit less likely because, you know, we have rejected right away from that next key level of resistance, and that rejection was strong enough and the buyers weren't able to sustain that bullish continuation, or I guess recover from that rejection enough to facilitate that bullish continuation to the top side.
So that's going to be the key level to be looking out for as of right now. On top of that though, as you guys can see, we do have our short time frame uptrend. So potentially what we might see is a retest of our support, a flash to test our short time frame uptrend, or potentially even a wick to fill that gap there before closing back above the uptrend and back above our short time frame support there. We also have our coinciding RSI uptrend as well. So on the 4-hour time frame, we have this little uptrend that's going to tell us potentially beforehand whether or not we're losing enough of that bullish momentum to suggest a loss of our key short time frame structure and our key short time frame support. So definitely be looking out for that as well. But as of right now, we're above the trend. The trend is your friend until it ends. We're above support. And, above support, we should be able to continue it to facilitate that move upwards. And, momentum is still, as of right now, very positive. So definitely be watching out for those levels, though. That will be your very first warning sign that we're having a bearish continuation. And the next thing that we're looking for in terms of a bullish continuation is that daily candle close above 64K and a successful resistance to support flip of this short time frame level here, ending at 64,600. Alright guys, so before I wrap up this video, there is one last chart that I did want to talk to you guys about, and that is the total altcoin market cap chart. So over the last week in particular, altcoins have actually been doing really surprisingly well. Like we've seen Bitcoin dominance kind of stagnate a little bit. It hasn't been creeping upwards. We've seen it pretty much go sideways over the last 6-day period, even as Bitcoin kind of goes sideways, right? So we've seen actually a lot of strength from altcoins over the last couple of days, and that has led to Total 3 earlier this week breaking above this key level over here at $576 billion. Now, we know that it is a key level because when we had a look, if you guys were in the market at the time, you would have seen the reactions that a lot of altcoins had to these, their key levels of support as we were approaching this level down here. It has historically, or over the last 6 months, represented a very key high time frame level of both support and resistance. So over the last week, we saw a break above that $576 billion threshold. And if you guys have been taking a look at altcoins at all, you would see that a lot of them are actually broken above high time frame resistances. They've broken out of really, really high time frame macro descending channels or descending wedges. We've seen some breakouts over altcoins over the last couple of days. And now that we've broken above that key threshold, what it looks like Total 3 is going to do is see a retest of the range chart of its similar macro structure here, that descending channel formation, and potentially see a breakout. So if we take a look at RSI, we can see a positive shift in RSI showing that people are really starting to accumulate altcoins once again. And so I really quickly want to talk about the breakout here and what that's going to symbolize for altcoins. So really quickly, what is a break going to look like? So the first thing that we need to see is a breakout from the pattern of forming these lower highs over here, our upper descending trend line, and that's going to be a 3-day candle close above this high time frame bullish trajectory sort of trigger over here, where we start to see altcoins enter into a high time frame uptrend, right? That would be facilitated by the formation of these two higher highs over here, which is the first time altcoins would have been able to do that within the last 6-month period, which would be huge. So upon doing that, we enter a high time frame bullish trajectory. Now after that, the next key level that we're looking out for is this one over here, around $700 to $715 billion. Now this level again represents a very, very high time frame, a lot of very, very high time frame key levels of resistance on altcoin charts, and breaking above that is when we enter a parabolically bullish segment of altcoin behavior, where if we do end up, I know it's not exactly the same because it's not exactly like the chart for a coin, it's the chart for a market cap, but if we do apply that sort of similar, I guess, analysis to identify, I guess, how far this breakout could go, it takes us right into that all-time high, altcoin market cap sort of level. So we're going to see some very, very parabolic, very, very bullish behavior breaking above this next key level of resistance here at $715 billion. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice. Okay. I think it's time we wrap the video up there, guys, but I just did want to point this out to you because if you are not looking at altcoins, potentially now is the time to not invest. This isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you where to put your money, but it is a very interesting time for altcoins. We are starting to see a lot of strength there because, if this is kind of coinciding to Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is sitting in terms of the macro charts, we're not as far yet in terms of breaking towards this level of
resistance, this macro uptrend, downtrend that we have on the top there. Whereas altcoins have broken above its key level of resistance there at $576 billion, last level of horizontal resistance, and is really moving in to test that upper trend line now. So altcoins are kind of leading in terms of price action right now, and the fact that a lot of altcoins are breaking out of those high time frame, structures is a very, very good sign, right? It's telling us that potentially we're seeing a macro shift in the market right now, in the entire cryptocurrency market, into a bullish trajectory.
Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, sign up down below to Bitunix, get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 US in sign up rewards. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.